Alright guys, this is part 2. After this video, I will end this video. I'm going to go to bed and sleep. I'm going to keep saying this, that way I'm not playing any games. You better enjoy this fucking stupid listening series while you can. As I know you guys take me for granted. You think I'm going to save you when I'm king after doing this evil to me, VJ. You're not going to be saved. Before I came downstairs, I continued this part 2. My step parents were yelling at me. They're, Ivan, stop watching yourself. I'm saying, do something good with your life. And that's how I know they're reprobate people. I cut them off. There's no hope for them, obviously. They're cut off, obviously. When I'm king and want to scream with me, you get what you deserve. You want to keep me behind the scenes and act like I watch myself. If you want to keep yelling at me and telling me to delete my videos and stop watching myself, you think for 1 second I'm going to save you when I'm king after what you did to me, you're crazy. The step families are going to get what they deserve. When I'm king, you're left behind. You're not saved. And I'm not making any rules for you when I'm king, and you get what you deserve, man. You think I'm gonna make rules for you when you secretly, when you tell me to stop watching myself and tell me to do something good in my life, when you lock all doors, when you was evil to me, and you killed me and had me access to my stepmom and turned me into porn, so I'm gonna save you? You're crazy. You're left behind. They're gonna be left behind and banned by God when I'm king, man. No. You get what you deserve, man. You want to yell at me and tell me to stop watching myself when you know everyone is watching my videos. You know you locked all doors, man. You know I'm gonna start Skystars in the future. You act like I'm a crazy person, obviously. When I'm king, what's king with me, you're left behind. The step families are get what they deserve. I'm not gonna make any rules for you guys. You're gonna be left behind and banned by God when I'm king. You get what you deserve, man. You want to be a dick like that? I'm also gonna be a dick too. When I'm king, I'm not making any super rules for you, man. You get what you deserve, man. Yeah, man. Reap what you sow. Just like in the Bible, right? Satan gets what he deserves. He wanted to cause war against God. God casts him out of his presence when he's king, and as the step families are going to be cast out of my presence when they're king. I cut them off. They're reprobate. There's no hope for them. I'm talking to you guys. There's no hope for you guys. You guys are reprobate people. You just constantly do this evil after evil to me. You know what I'm saying? You act like V is not my wife. You put me in a hospital. You hack my laptop. You lock all doors on me. You yell at me and tell me to do something good in my life when you lock the doors on me. You tell me to stop watching myself. Tell me to delete my videos. When secretly, behind the scenes, you watch my videos. And you don't want me to delete my videos. At the same time, you tell me to delete my videos. You tell me to do something good in my life when you locked all the doors. I applied for fucking Mobify 3 years ago. I was willing to work what? 30 hours a week. I would have made $700 a week. And you keep yelling at me and telling me to do something good in my life because they're fucking reprobate people. That's where I get in the Bible how you have Satan and you have the devil and you have Jesus, obviously. Yeah. The step families are what? Are symbolism of Satan. They're fucking wicked people, man. They're beyond wicked. Yo, Ivan, your step family are wicked people. Yeah, they're wicked people. They're reprobate people. There's no hope for them. I wash my hands in them. They're cut off. And they're not going to be saved when me meet your king queen. They're going to be left behind. They're not going to be saved. If you think for 1 second you're going to do this evil to me and have me make votes when I'm king and act and tell me to stop watching myself, you're crazy, man. I'm not making any rules for you when I'm king out. You're going to be left behind. You're going to pay the terrific price. You're going to be left behind and banned by God. And the step farmers are going to get what they deserve. And you guys better enjoy this stupid listening series watch game because I'm not interested in playing any stupid games here. It really, really pisses me off when they yell at me every time. I don't yell at them back. I just ignore them now. I wash my hands and they're reprobate people. But it's really, really annoying when I keep hearing them yelling at me every time, telling me, Ivan, you're 30 years old and you're sitting in your basement and you're a failure in life. I'm like, I swear to God, man, if you keep saying that, I'm gonna really, really get angry. Had you not locked the doors, man, I wouldn't be sitting in my fucking basement. I'd be fucking working, successful. You keep yelling at me and telling me something good, like when you locked all the doors on me. You tell me that I watch myself when the only reason why you can say that is obvious because you locked the doors on me. Had you not locked the doors on me, my stats would be on. Everyone would be watching my videos, and I would make my money off YouTube. And you tell me you do something good in my life when you lock the doors on me. You tell me to delete my videos when you secretly behind the scenes you watch my videos. And you think when I'm king, I'm gonna make videos for you when I'm king. I'm saving because they're fucking crazy people, man. You guys are nothing but a mess, and you're crazy psychopaths, man. You're nothing but a mess, me, man. Yeah, you just break every moral code in the book, man. Yeah, we're gonna act like Ivan's wife is not Ivan's wife, obviously. Let's sabotage Ivan's channel. Let's make fun of Ivan and say Ivan watches himself When secretly the only reason why you can say that is because the doors are locked on me. Had my stats been open, you guys wouldn't be able to say that because you guys all tune into my videos. And you think I'm going to save you when I'm king. No, you're not going to be saved. I'm not going to do it like that. You're going to be left behind and bound by God when I'm king. I'll make videos for now when I'm poor, obviously. But once I find out how wicked you are and then I'm king, I'm in glory, you're no longer saved. And I'm not making any videos from my stupid Sabotage channel. You get what you deserve, man. You want to sabotage my channel and then act like I watch myself. Say that I watch myself when you secretly watch my videos behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? You drive, you know what I'm saying? You're home and you drive your car and you watch my videos in your car. Behind the scenes, obviously. If you think I'm gonna let you do like that when I'm king, when I'm king with me, I'm peace and now you're not saved. You're not gonna be saved, you're gonna be left behind and bound by God. As a Seth Adams, get what they deserve, man. You know what I'm saying? I wash my hands of them, there's no hope for them, they're reprobate people. They're gonna get what they deserve. When I'm king, they're left behind, they're not saved, they're bad for me, we just glory, and they get what they deserve, man. Just like Satan, the Bible, is cast off from God's presence the moment he chose to betray God and start a war against God. The Seth Adams are cast off from me, VJ's presence and glory when we're king and queen. And so they're going to get what they deserve. Yeah, you reap what you sow, man. Anyways, I'll talk for a good 24 minutes here and I'll end this video here. And I will what? Sleep till 4 and I'll make my final video of my 3-video marathon. And now I'm done for today, obviously. So I'm going to talk more about Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson. Yeah, so it's going to be a tough choice between those two candidates, as Mel Gibson's really good for the horror and the biblical symbolism. That's why he's really, really good. Whereas Peter Jackson's is not as good for the horror. He's good for the horror too, because you have the Ringwraiths and Orcs, but Lord of the Rings is not a scary movie. Peter Jackson's more good for the worldbuilding and the action, the worldbuilding. You have Middle Earth, you have the orcs, the language of the elves. You would have a lot of good ideas for the wolves and the bats and all of them. You know what I'm saying? He's good for the world building of the north, the south. I'm saying, whereas Mel Gibson's more good for the horror of the bats and the wolves and the biblical symbolism of Takis being the symbolism of Jesus and Aratat being the symbolism of the devil. You know what I'm saying? Ephesus is a devil too. Ephesus is a devil too, obviously. You see what I'm saying? Ephesus is a devil too. When you read my book, obviously. But Aratat's the main villain of the story. Just like Sauron is the main villain of the story, obviously, but like Saruman is also evil too. He's a villain too in the story. When you watch the movie, you have Sauron and you have Saruman, who's another villain in the story too. He's Sauron's puppet, obviously. When you read the movie, obviously, whereas but it's nothing like Zane's. Ephesus is not Aratat's puppet. No, Ephesus is also a king. He's a king by the mountains. They're both kings. Ephesus is a king. He's royalty, obviously. He's a king bat of the southern Gilead mountains. Well, he's the king of the ancient Gilead city, but the mountain regions is his region. It's his territory. Just like the south, the rest of the south is Aratat's region, obviously. But Aratat does not rule the humans. He does not rule the Southerns, but he's a king of the south. You see what I'm saying? Oh, you guys get my picture? Yeah, I was just saying, yeah. Even though Aratat's the king of the south, and Ephesus is the king by the mountains, they don't rule the humans. Like, they don't rule the humans. You see what I'm saying? When I mean rule, they don't give them, they don't rule them where they're slaves and all stuff. No. You know what I'm saying? Eli is the humans have their own customs and laws. The humans have their own customs and laws. The humans have their own customs and laws, obviously. Aratat does not rule the humans, but he's the king of the south, though. It's his territory. The humans know he's the king of the south. They know, they call him the devil wolf king in the south, but he does not rule the humans. He does not rule the humans. You see what I'm saying? He does not rule the humans. Eretat. You see what I'm saying? Eretat does not rule the humans, and Ephesus does not rule the humans, but they're the kings of the south. The two kings of the south, obviously. Eretat's the king of the south, but Ephesus is the king bat of the mountains in the south. So even though Eretat's the king of the south, he doesn't rule the mountain regions. If you read Volume 3, you'll see what I mean. Eretat talks about how never linger through the mountains. That's where all the bats live. You know what I'm saying? He knows. Eretat knows the bat, the what? The Bat King. That's his it's the Bat region, obviously. He doesn't mention Ephesus, obviously, but he talks about how, like, never linger through the mountains. That's where all the bats live. That's their region, pretty much, right? I'm paraphrasing here. He says that in Volume 3 when you read it. You know what I'm saying? Eretat knows the bats live in the mountains, and that's their region, obviously. But Eretat is the king of most of the south, right? He's the king of the south, but he's the king of most of the south. Because the moment you linger through the western side of the south, obviously, the Western Joyous Mountains, it is his region, it's his territory. Remember how in Fellowship of the Ring, when Gandalf and them take the path to the mountains in Moria? Well, think of some of that for Zanus. You have the south, obviously, but in the further west, you have the mountains. And the moment you journey through the big mountains, obviously, you're now in Ephesus territory, and he's the king bat of that region. Obviously, so if you can say Eretat has a slightly higher power than Ephesus if you want, but what? Ephesus is also a king. He's the king of the mountains. And that's why I'm looking at a masterpiece that I wrote, man. I wrote a fucking masterpiece. And that's why both Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson are gonna have to fight for that job, man. Because you're looking at what? They're both really, really good for the movie, obviously. You see what I'm saying? They're both really, really good for the movie. Obviously. But something tells me I might end up choosing Peter Jackson. Because he did the Masterpiece of the Rings. But something also tells me I might choose Mel Gibson. You never know, man. Even though I mentioned Peter Jackson a lot in my videos, I'm speaking hypothetically. High chance I might hire Mel Gibson over him. You see what I'm saying? Because Mel Gibson's a Christian. He's good for the horror and the biblical symbolism of Zanus, man. He's good. Obviously. And he'll have a lot of good ideas for my world building too, Mel Gibson too. The guy's talented. When I read your book, I have a lot of good ideas for your movie for the South, the North. Yeah, the North being holy, yeah. Just like Jesus is holy and Passion of Christ. You'll have a lot of good ideas for the story, man. Yeah, that's why he's really, really good, man. But Peter Jackson did that Masterpiece of the Rings, and he's good too. He also did The Hobbit. The Hobbit, you have Middle Earth too. Yeah, you have the Goblin King in The Hobbit. In the mines and in Unexpected Journey, you'll have a lot of good ideas for Ephesus too, obviously. That's why they're both really good. For my movie. And whoever's chosen, they're going to be the lucky saved, obviously. They're going to be saved for a good 5 years of their life, obviously, and they're going to get to experience the international flame with me and VJ, while the rest of the world and the step families are left behind. They're not saved. They get what they deserve, man. As I keep saying, if you want to play games with me and say Ivan, delete your video, stop watching yourself. Okay, if you want to be a dick like that, and say I watch myself and secretly behind the scenes you watch myself and think I'm going to save you when I'm king, after this, you doing this evil to me, you're crazy. I'm peacing now and you're not saved. You're going to be left behind. You get what you deserve, man. You reap what you sow. The staff families chose to keep me behind the scenes and sabotage my channel and lock all doors on me and act like I watch myself and say delete my reels. Okay, fine. If you want to be like that, after I pay this bullshit fee and you got your mess in my wife's life, my stepmother got her bullshit sex, obviously, you get what you deserve, and you killed me to be with my wife and make money in this world. When I'm king, I'm peacing now, and you're left behind, you're not saving you. They're going to cry, obviously, and they're going to wish they can take it all back, but it's too late. They made their choice, and now they're cast off from God's amazing international glory, and they get what they deserve, man. The stepmoms are going to get what they deserve, man. They're going to get what they fucking deserve, man. I'm not kidding around, man. After doing this evil to me, you're going to get what you deserve, man. Yeah, man. Just like Satan, the Bible gets what he deserves. He chose to betray God and thought he can overthrow God's throne. And the moment he did that, foolishly did that, God cast him out of heaven, and now Satan is in hell, and he's separated from God for all eternity. Yeah, the gatekeepers are not going to be a part of my presence. They're not going to be in my glory. They're going to be separated from me and VJ's glory. Both VJ's family and my family are not going to be saved. They're going to be left behind. VJ's sister is not going to be saved. She's going to be left behind. My stepbrothers are not going to be saved. They're going to be left behind. My step-parents are not going to be saved. They're going to be left behind. VJ's step-parents are not going to be saved. They're going to be left behind. Her aunt, all members of her family are going to be left behind. All members of my family are going to be left behind. None of them are going to be saved, as they're all a part of the plot. As if they're really good people, They would have told me that my family were the gatekeepers. They would have told me that doors locked me. None of them even bothered to do that, man. That's how you know you guys are something else, man. You guys are fucking like evil people, man. Nobody in my life, man, even bothered to let me know that my family are the fucking gatekeepers, man, and the doors are all locked on me, that I had a wife. Yeah, hopefully Ivan's lost and he works midway till he's 50 and he forgets about his wife. Because you guys, well, we get to live our life and make our money. Because you guys you're not even fucking God, man. And I'm God, and you want to do this to the guy who fucking created the universe for you to breathe, man. I create this universe for you to breathe, and you can't even let me make money in this fucking world. And be in a free relationship, because you guys are crazy people, man. You're nothing but a mess me, VJ made, man. And that's why you don't deserve to be saved, because you guys are what? You're evil people. You don't deserve to be saved. You deserve to be left behind. Just like the wicked in the Bible are separated from God when he's separate from God's presence or separate from God, and they go to hell. Yeah, you guys deserve to see hell. You don't deserve to see the light. There's a reason why you see hell. I proved it, man. Because you guys don't deserve to see me. Only VJ, even though VJ pisses me off, sometimes I'm tempted to just run off. Should I just save? Is it worth saving this stupid woman, obviously, because she pisses me off? VJ is the only one who deserves to see me, because VJ is my spirit, she's my wife, and she was with me in eternity past when we created the universe. She was there with me, obviously, she's my spirit. Because she's from me, obviously, she's my nature, she's the only one who deserves to see me. Because VJ's from the sky, she's an alien like me. VJ's not from this world, she's an alien. Just like I'm not from this world, I'm an alien. Hence why when all these men went after her, they got their garbage sex and her spirit kept running away. Just like when all these women have sex with me, my stepmother wants to have sex with me, my spirit will run away, and what? They're not going to get the connection because they're not meant for me. You women are not meant for me. I'm only meant for VJ, and VJ's only meant for me. That's why those men got their rip-off sex. And they got their garbage, stinky, fishy sex, you know what I'm saying? And they get what they deserve. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Anyways, let me go back to Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson. Yeah, hence why they're both going to really have to compete for that job, man. And I'll give Peter Jackson or Mel Gibson an unlimited $90 million budget, $30 million towards set building, $37 million towards the costumes, armor, and weapons and machinery for the Devil Mask, $35 million towards extras, $10 million towards the IMAX cameras. Obviously, I'm going to put money, $410 million towards salaries to pay all the Lord of the Rings crewmen their rich $150,000 salary. The supervisors their rich $200,000 salary. And I'll pay the actors their millions. They're nice 4, 5, 3, 8, 7.8, you know what I'm saying? 8.5, 9, 10, 11, 10.9, $12.5 million. That way the actors work harder for you and you get a better movie than Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. But I told you, even though Lord of the Rings is a masterpiece and Zaynus will be a masterpiece, I believe Zaynus will take out Lord of the Rings by a margin, obviously. But I'm going to keep saying this. I want to talk about this in this video. I'm going to make a prediction. There's a high chance all those YouTubers, those movie YouTubers who I watch, they're all movie critics, right? Chances are some of them might even like Lord of the Rings better than Last of Zaynus. Perhaps. There's a high chance a lot of the directors in Hollywood, the actors, the Lord of the Rings actors might even like Lord of the Rings better than my Last of Zaynus movie. Peter Jackson, Mel Gibson might like Lord of the Rings better than my Last of Zaynus movie. You know what I'm saying? All you Lord of the Rings nerd and Lord of the Rings Reddit might like Lord of the Rings better than my Last of Zaynus movie. You might even like the Lord of the Rings books better than my Last of Zaynus books. Yeah, even though I liked Ivan's story, Ivan's a bit raw in some sections, obviously. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little raw, obviously. It's a masterpiece. I wrote a masterpiece, guys. But if you read some section books, you can tell some sections I'm a little raw, obviously. But it doesn't take away from the story. The story is a masterpiece. I'm a creative genius. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Ivan's a little raw. He's an amazing writer, but he's a little raw, obviously. And what? And I liked I thought the world building of Lord of the Rings was better, and you know what I'm saying, I just love the world of Tolkien's Middle Earth. You know what I'm saying, the rich world building, the rich speech. I like that kind of better than Ivan's book, but Ivan had the better story. But man, I kind of like Lord of the Rings better. Some of the Lord of the Rings nerds, Lord of the Rings Reddit might like Lord of the Rings better than my Zaynus book. I highly doubt it though, because I read Lord of the Rings, I compared it to my book. My book is more interesting to read, obviously. Whereas Lord of the Rings is a drag, man. I'm not kidding around, guys. I know. I don't mean to hate on Tolkien like this. You know what I'm saying? Even though J.R.R. Tolkien's a genius and Lord of the Rings is a masterpiece, the book is a bit boring for me personally. And it's a drag to read sometimes, man. I'm not kidding around, man. You read it and you're like, man, this is pretty boring. Sometimes it can get really boring, man, when you read it, man. Even though the world building is amazing, you get the rich speech. You know what I'm saying? It can be a bit a drag to read. It can be a bit boring. And Peter Jackson knows what I'm talking about. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Hence why what? I can't see. High chance a lot of Lord of the Rings nerds and Lord of the Rings are like Lord of the Rings better than Zane's obviously, but I just can't see it happening, man. It probably will happen, but I can't see it happening because I read all three books of Lord of the Rings. I finished it like a week and a half ago. And I'm currently going over my book with my younger stepbrother, editing the book, obviously. And when I read my book, I compare it to Lord of the Rings, man, my book is more interesting to read. It's a more interesting read than Lord of the Rings, man. It's fresh, it's not dry, and the story flows better, obviously. Whereas Lord of the Rings, the story is kind of all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, even though the main story is Frodo destroying the ring, you have a lot of things going on, man. With Aragorn, with Gimli, with Legolas, with Gandalf. You know what I'm saying? You have all these different side plots. It's crazy. Lord of the Rings, the story is a little bit all over the place when you read it. It's a little all over the place when you read it. It's not really. It doesn't have a clear focus. It doesn't have a clear There's a clear plot focus of Frodo destroying the ring, but the story is kind of all over the place. You see what I'm saying? Whereas Zane's is not like that. Zane's you have like a clear focus of the plot when you read it, and the story flows much better than Lord of the Rings. It flows better than Lord of the Rings. Not much better. It flows better than Lord of the Rings. It's a richer story. You see what I'm saying? It's a richer story. But I told you, I'm going to make a prediction. Even though my Lord of the Rings book is better than Lord of the Rings, obviously, there's some Lord of the Rings nerds who might like Lord of the Rings better, obviously. Peter Jackson, all you Lord of the Rings actors like Elijah Wood, Billy Boyd, Dominic Monaghan, Orlando Bloom, Viggo Mortensen, Ian McKellen, they all read Lord of the Rings, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Liv Tyler, Hugo Weaving, all you guys who read the book, obviously, 20 years ago when you were in the movie, you guys might like J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings better than my Zane's book. I'm going to be honest, they might like it better because everyone's entitled to their own opinion, obviously. You see what I'm saying? Obviously. Just like I personally like Narnia, Chronicles of Narnia is my second favorite fantasy book series. I like Narnia better than what? I like Narnia better than even all those other authors. Yes, I think Narnia is the second best fantasy series out there. I think it's better than Harry Potter. I think it's better than I haven't read Game of Thrones and I haven't read Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight series. But Narnia is my second favorite fantasy series. The C.S. Lewis is also a genius too, but his book is not as good as Lord of the Rings. You see what I'm saying? But in my opinion, I can read Narnia more times than Lord of the Rings. Because Narnia is not as dry and it's not as boring as Lord of the Rings. But Lord of the Rings has the richer world building, the better story. Narnia has an amazing story, but it's like a children's story, right? And the biblical symbolism screams in your face with C.S. Lewis. It's so obvious. The biblical symbolism is so obvious in C.S. Lewis's book when you read it. You know what I'm saying? But when you read Narnia compared to Lord of the Rings, it's not as good as Lord of the Rings, obviously. But Narnia is a masterpiece, too. It's an amazing... The Lion, the Witch, and Wardrobe is one of the best fantasy novels ever written, man. It's a fucking amazing book. But it's a children's book. Whereas Lord of the Rings is more for teens and adults. And the story, the world building is much better than C.S. Lewis's Narnia, the World of Narnia. You see what I'm saying here? Because Narnia, it's a little fantasy-ish. You know what I'm saying? They discover a different world through the wardrobe of Narnia. It's kind of childish and fascist. Whereas Lord of the Rings, the world feels real. It's like you have Middle Earth. You know what I'm saying? You have the races of men, elves, and dwarves. You have the history of the ring. Sauron. You have the nine ring race. You have the dwarfs. You know what I'm saying? You have the elves. They all had rings, obviously. And you have the one ring to rule them all, which is Sauron's ring, obviously. And all those beings who held the ring, the men, the dwarves, and the elves, they all got corrupted by the power of the ring, and they became evil. Obviously, the men became the ring race. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the nine became the ring race. Yeah, it's a more richer story than Narnia, obviously. But I'm not going to say Narnia is better than those other books because I haven't read the other books. I haven't read Game of Thrones. I haven't read Stormlight series. I haven't read Harry Potter. You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm not going to say that. But like, from what I've read so far, Narnia is my second favorite fantasy series after Lord of the Rings. Obviously. But I'm going to be honest, I can read Narnia a lot more times than Lord of the Rings. Because Narnia, the books are not as long, and the stories, the books are not as dry as Lord of the Rings. Whereas Lord of the Rings, the books are more dry, you see what I'm saying? But it's still a better series than Narnia, you see what I'm saying? And that's why I'm going to be honest. Even though Jared Tolkien is a genius, he's a mastermind behind that series, and the books are a masterpiece, I found the books a bit boring, to be honest. They were a bit boring and they're a bit dry. And all you Lord of the Rings nerds know what I'm talking about, man. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yes, man. There's something about Lord of the Rings when you read it, it's very dry. It's really, really dry. It's so dry to the point where you read like 10 pages, interesting, and he drags on for 10 pages. You turn the pages, how much pages are left till the chapter ends? Holy shit, this book is a drag to read. It can be a bit boring. Yeah, man, it's a drag to read, man. It's a dry book. Whereas my book is not like that, man. My book, when you read it, it's fresh. You know what I'm saying? The characters jump on the page and you're hooked, man. You're hooked like through the whole chapter. I keep you hooked enough to keep turning the page, man. You know what I'm saying? Hence why when Peter Jackson gets to read my book, they're gonna be like, "Holy shit! I want to get my hands on this story." Yeah, Ivan puts $9 million towards it. Axon puts $400 million towards special effects for world building, action sequences, horror of the wolves and bats. You know what I'm saying? $30 million towards building all these amazing sets. $37 million towards the costumes, armor, weapons, and devil masks. $35 million towards extras. $10 million towards the IMAX cameras, the best IMAX cameras. You get beautiful cinematography. IMAX cameras, the best camera, pretty much the best cameras in Hollywood, obviously. I can't see Lord of the Rings topping this story, yeah. But I told you, because Peter Jackson has an ego, he won't tell me that my Lord of the Rings movie will be better than his Zanus movie, because he won't tell me that his Zanus movie will be better than his Lord of the Rings movie, because he has an ego and he doesn't want to compete with his masterpiece. Ivan, I don't want to compete with Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is Lord of the Rings, not Zanus is Zanus. You see what I'm saying? But he's not stupid. Once he reads my book, he'll be like, "Holy shit! I see Ivan's point. If you adapt this kind of story to the big screen, this will most likely be better than my Lord of the Rings movie by a bit, by a slim margin. It'll be close." But I'm gonna keep saying this, man. Before I end this video here in a good like 5 minutes here, high chance half the movie critics in Hollywood, half the movie critics on YouTube, all these YouTubers on YouTube, obviously, guys like John Campea, Rob Mayer Burnett. These are all movie critics, right? Especially Rob Mayer Burnett. Rob Mayer Burnett's like is a movie guru. The guy knows his shit, man. You know what I'm saying? He's a movie guru. He knows his shit. He's gonna critique my movie. John Campea's gonna critique my movie. Neil Toots will critique my movie too, obviously. Midnight Edge, Overlord DVD. All these guys are gonna critique my movie behind the scenes. Some of them might even like Lord of the Rings better than Zanus. So I'm gonna make a prediction here. Maybe, most likely not, but some of them might like it better, obviously. So once you guys watch the movie, once they watch the movie, obviously, and they say I like Lord of the Rings better, I will not be shocked, because I predicted this year, guys. I predicted this years in advance. Some of you guys might like Lord of the Rings better than Zanus, because Lord of the Rings is a masterpiece. Even though Zanus was a masterpiece, I thought Lord of the Rings was better. I enjoyed it more. You know what I'm saying? The Lord of the Rings world building is just too good. You have the language of the elves. You have the beautiful, you know what I'm saying, world of Middle Earth. You know what I'm saying? I just thought Lord of the Rings was a bit better. You know what I'm saying? Some people might say that, because everyone's entitled to their own opinions. You know what I'm saying? Ivan, would you think Zanus will be better than Lord of the Rings? I think I'll guarantee think Zanus is better than Lord of the Rings, because I'm acting in the fucking movie, man. All these Lord of the Rings actors are all normal on the screen. Ivan O'Mara is unique on the screen. That's why I'll like Zanus more than Lord of the Rings. And Zanus is a better story than Lord of the Rings. You see what I'm saying here? There's never been a movie made, guys, where you have the North, which is holy, like Rivendell. Takis is the prince of the North. The South is cursed. Different atmosphere. All the devil beings live there. The animal kingdom, obviously. Eretas is the wolf king in the South. Ephesus is the king bad in the mountains. You have the curse of Ass of the South. Watching Tactius and all them. Beings watching Tactius. Yeah, I can't see what Lord of the Rings topping that kind of story, man. We have the big epic war in the end. Whereas Return of the King, the reason why I truly believe Zanus will be better than Lord of the Rings, because I believe the 3 movies will be more consistent than Lord of the Rings. Whereas when you watch Lord of the Rings, when you watch Fellowship of the Ring and Two Towers, they're really, really good. But when you watch, the moment you watch Return of the King, you see a clear drop in quality when you watch Return of the King. Because even though Return of the King was a masterpiece, you had a lot of problems in that movies. You had messy CGI. There's a reason why they did reshoots for Return of the King, because the movie had a lot of messy CGI. A lot of messy CGI. Return of the King had some bad, Return of the King had some bad CGI, man. And the wars were all rushed. Everything was rushed, and the wars were all rushed, man. It was a little bit all over the place with Return of the King, you know what I'm saying? Because you had all these wars, different wars going on. It was rushed. You had bad CGI. You know what I'm saying? And the wars were not that great, man. You know what I'm saying? So you would think for a movie like Return of the King, you'd have an epic war even better than Helm's Deep, but you didn't. For Return of the King, yeah, you had a lot of wars, but the wars were not as grand scale as Helm's Deep, man. Helm's Deep beats out all those Lord of the Rings wars. Whereas for Xehanort, I am ending off the end of the movie. You have a big war, something like Helm's Deep. Eretat marches. I won't spoil so for he's approaching the wall. Obviously, Tacius and his army meet him outside the wall, and you get this epic battle, like more grand scale than Helm's Deep. 25,000 wolves versus 15,000 Xehanort army. I can't see what Lord of the Rings topping that story. You know what I'm saying? Obviously. In other words, I know how to I know how to tell a good story from the beginning, middle, and end. Volume 1 is the beginning, Volume 2 is the middle, obviously, and then Volume 3 is the end climax of the story, and I ended off with an epic scale war with Eretat versus Tacius. I know what I'm doing. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You have the battle scene in the caverns, obviously. You have the battle scene in the caverns with Ephesus in Volume 3. Tacius finds out his destiny, who he is. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil the story for you. He's more mature, like Passion of Christ. And he's in agony at the end of Volume 3, and when Eretat's approaching the walls, and he ends up facing the devil himself, and he fights Eretat and his army with his own army. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You have a more powerful story. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Return of the King was what? Return of the King, like the one thing Return of the King did bad was the wars, man. The wars were not great in Return of the King. They were all rushed, man. Everything was rushed in Return of the King. That's the one flaw I have. That's why I don't like Return of the King better than the other two, man. Because you have a lot of flaws in that movie. You have the bad, like the Army of the Dead was bad CGI. The Eye of Sauron collapsing was bad CGI. Mount Doom wasn't that great CGI either. You know what I'm saying? You had a lot of bad CGI. And the ships, you know what I'm saying, arriving, that was really bad CGI. A lot of bad CGI in Return of the King, man. And the wars were not that great. Peter Jackson knows what I'm talking about. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, man. Return of the King did not have great wars, man. Shut my camera here.